So I showed you videos of this blaster stock. I talked a little bit about I had some ideas of some things to do to it. Definitely didn't work out exactly as I intended, at least the first time through. So I'll talk a little bit about what I did. This is the J10 ACR, all black from Zenduo Blaster. Zenduo Blaster, great site. I've been working with them for about 3 years now. So they have stock in USA and stock from China. If it says it's US stock, that means you're going to get it, in under a week. If it's coming from China, be patient. Things take a long time. Customs can cause issues, but 100% legit, they will take care of you. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, in my initial video, I accidentally told you guys that I thought there was a Gen 8.5 in here. And then I even thought, oh no, I'm wrong. I thought it was a V2. I didn't say that in the video, but then these were actually Gen 9 gearboxes that are in these ACRs. So a Gen 9 gearbox, very similar size to a V2, but not exactly the same spec. Now I had an upgraded V2 gearbox, and since it was pretty close, I thought I was going to be able to make that work with some modifications on the inside to give it a little more room. I was able to get that gearbox in there, get that seated in there properly, and then I saw that there was slightly, the T-piece, the standard Gen 9 T-piece, was not long enough. So I had to take a T-piece like this and add a little ring to it that was really only about 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters added to this so that it would fit snug against that V2 gearbox. However, when I did that, I didn't have a bigger nozzle, and I didn't even think it was enough that I would need a longer nozzle on that V2 gearbox, but you would. So it would not work. Basically, the nozzle could not go out far enough to hit those gel balls to shoot them. So I'd done all this work to get a V2 gearbox in, and it just didn't end up working. So I had to go back to the Gen 9 route. Now I thought since I had that upgraded V2 gearbox, it would just be easier. For some reason, I just hate opening gearboxes, even though it's really not that bad. So actually, I went ahead and I took that Gen 9 gearbox that came with it, just fully upgraded it to metal gears and everything, and a green O-ring, and then a much better motor as well. And I didn't even have any problems at all. I was able to, usually it's when you go to close it up, things move, pain in the butt. It's not even, it was super easy. So probably should have gone that route in the first place. But because I had all these different things going on and things weren't working out, I didn't do any videos really documenting that, because it's at a time when I'm frustrated and not quite sure what's going to work. So whatever, that's just how that goes. So fully upgraded it, and then I also added priming. So basically, if you've seen Gen 8.5 or Gen 8 gearboxes, where they have the little primer button up on the top, and then you pull something back, a charge handle, and it clicks that button to prime it. I went that route. So I printed a tiny piece that would hold the primer button, and I obviously rewired it. Had to do some modifications to this, so we do lose that last round open. That was going to be lost anyway, because when I was doing the V2 gearbox build, I had to get rid of some pieces and parts. I had to cut out so that would work, and then you would have had priming and blowback. But of course, like I said, that didn't work in the long run. So now we have fully upgraded, and we've got priming. Also, I put a really long metal barrel on here, and I knew that would cause, or have potential to cause, problems just because of the cylinder size and everything. But the reason I did that is, here is the factory barrel that comes on the ACR inner barrel, right? And this is kind of what I call my typical standard size, just because I have a bunch of these. So that's why I just kind of figured standard. You see, it's not long enough, right? So it wasn't going to make it to the end, to the threads where I'd want it to go. Now, not a huge deal. It would still work, right? But then I had one extra long barrel, and I thought, well, let's go ahead and let's use that, because I did have extra T-pieces. So I went ahead and I put that extra long barrel on there. So this barrel is way longer, right? Because the barrel that's in here now actually terminates all the way out here. this is a recessed suppressor. So it's got an extra long metal inner barrel. And again, I knew that that might lead to some issues. I wasn't sure where we were going to end up. Sometimes that lowers the FPS. So I wasn't sure where we're going to end up. But this is definitely way more powerful now, due to some of the other upgrades as well. You'll see in the demos, its hidden FPS is, highs of 350. It is a little inconsistent. I think some of that might be to do with the gel balls. I've only tried it with Ultra Elites so far, but you'll have to check that out. So other than that, I went to the buffer tube mod just because I really don't like how the battery goes in these. I just don't like how this is, harder to open. And it was just something different to do. And I had, a nice piece that I knew I could print very easily that would work with this. So I went to the buffer tube. So the battery's back in the buffer tube, added grip, added some rails. All right. But like I said, now you have priming, right? And of course you still have your semi-automatic and your automatic. It's just, we lost our last round. So I just put a piece of aluminum there because I thought it would look cool. Kind of fills that window. And there you go. So now we got kind of a pretty crazy upgraded ACR J10, all metal components in the gearbox. Now in the gearbox, it's still the same nylon gearbox, upgraded motor, that extra long inner, M95 spring, green O-ring inside there, and priming added. So pretty big project. Took a lot of little tweaks here and there, but in the end, it has worked out. And I just wasn't even sure. I thought this might have been a lost cause, but everything has worked out. So come back, watch the demo, see what else, see the kind of performance improvements we get. Check out Zenduo Blaster. Like I said, great site. Lots of options for US stock, and then tons of options if you're willing to be patient and order stock that ships from China. Questions, comments, post them below. Like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and participate in those contests on my YouTube channel when they're live. Usually the prize packages are worth about $300 in custom blasters and accessories. Thanks.